Hey, good morning to everybody. It's Daryl here in Connecticut on the East Coast. It's going to be a nice warm day here again today. I'm looking forward to it to get my mountain bike out there. All right, let's jump into it. I want to talk today about Vince Vaughn. I know it's kind of a juvenile. I really feel a little silly talking about this, but I'm talking. What I want to talk about is the nonsense that I saw like all over Facebook and just all over the media and everything yesterday about Vince Vaughn shaking the president's hand. I really think it's a bunch of nonsense. Let me say, first of all, that what I would call our side, the side of common sense, the side that's opposing the cult of Trump, let's say, I'd like to believe that our mindset, our ideas are so solid that we don't have to worry about one. I don't want to insult him, but one B-list actor shaking hands with the president is gonna be a threat to our ideas. I that's I don't believe that. Okay, let me say first of all, it's like a 34-second. I've never seen such ridiculous hype over a 34-second clip or something. He sits down, he shakes the president, or he sits down, talks to the president. We don't know what he's saying. He shakes the president's hand. The president taps his hand, and everybody makes a big deal out of observing every little nuance in this conversation. We have no idea what he talked about. If it were me, and I was a famous person, and I had the opportunity to either ignore or approach the president, I would approach him. If you ignore him, that's going to accomplish nothing. If you approach him, you might, if you do it right, and I still believe that Trump is very vulnerable to ego and manipulation. If you do it, if you approach him and do it right, I maybe I'm overestimating myself, but I really believe that you have a chance of getting his ear and possibly changing something about his personality, about him, or at least getting something into that what I call his hamster wheel. Yeah. So if I was an actor, if I was a musician, and I had the opportunity to be allowed to approach the great president, I think I would. Ignoring him, acting like a jilted boyfriend or whatever, and just walking by and with my nose up is not going to accomplish anything. You know what I mean? So yeah, I might do the same thing. The thing is, we don't know what he talked about. So I looked into it. I looked into Vince, and he's a libertarian, and I was even more confused than ever. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know a lot of. I never understood libertarianism. I assumed that I almost thought it was an ultra right wing thing, like a far version of conservatism. But I'm not sure because the more I looked it up, there's left leaning libertarianism too. The only thing I saw politically from him was his thing about guns, and he's more or less pro guns. I don't have a problem with that. There's millions and millions of guns already out here, which is what his quote was. It was basically saying. And at this point, the cow's out of the barn on that. So I agree with him on that. Okay, Vince, what I saw, he sat down. We have no idea what he said. And I thought about it. And he's not in the same classification as, say, Ted Nugent or a Kanye West, where they become a puppet or a mouthpiece for the president and his policies. In that case, yeah, I'll be honest. I saw, when I was about 14 or 15, I've seen Ted Nugent in concert 5, 6 times. Now, would I buy his stuff? No. I don't like him as a man. Period. I don't like his attitude. I don't. I think it's almost like a Trump type overcompensation is what I see. But okay, now let's get into what's it called? When you boycotts. I'm not a big believer in boycotts either. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a professor of economics. In today's market, I would imagine that it would take tens of thousands of people or more to affect any kind of financial change, and that would have to then create a social or political change. I think okay. I don't see boycott as a viable solution really. I don't, and I think there's a possibility of it backfiring too. Um, I remember the Nike stuff. I thought that was so ridiculous. The burning the Nikes that you're gonna. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You're gonna buy the Nikes, then you get upset about Colin Kaepernick and you set your own Nikes on fire in the backyard. I've never seen an act of stupidity bigger than that in my entire life. So yeah, boycotting Vince Vaughn ridiculous. Until unless he becomes a mouthpiece for Trump, I really don't care. Like I said, I'd like to think that our beliefs are, meaning the people that oppose the cult of Trump, the fear mongering, the ideology of Trump, that I would like to believe that our ideology is strong enough that we're not going to be threatened, that our thoughts, our ideas aren't going to be threatened by one actor sitting down at a football game for 30 seconds with the president. I don't see it as being a big threat. If he wants to support the president, it's his choice. I really don't care. I might even still, if it's a good movie, I might even still watch it. It does not affect me or my policies or my beliefs, and I don't think it really affects the outcome of anything in general. I think we're giving him too much. We're imagining this actor has too much power. It seems almost juvenile to me. Like you see one of your friends wearing a Red Sox jersey instead of a Yankees jersey, just as an example. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna be his friend no more. It seems a little juvenile. It seems pointless. See, there's a bigger picture here, and if you truly want to affect change, if it bothered you that much, one of the biggest things I've been thinking about is getting people registered to vote. Doing a little research into areas that had low voter turnout and trying to get people to register to vote. That's what I think would be good for me to try to do as my part. I think that would be that right there, I think could affect so much more change. I think the big reason we have this administration, this president right now, is because a lot of people didn't see a point in voting. So that right there, forget the boycott, forget Vince Vaughn, and forget Kanye West, and forget them all. It gets some people registered to vote. Maybe trying to get this this electoral system we have, maybe looking into that and getting that changed more to a popular vote might be a good idea to affect change. Also, in the past, I've donated my paintings. I'm not going to use this for a grandstand for myself. I've used it to help with the opiate epidemic. I've donated three paintings a year for a silent auction, and I think that's a great tool. A lot of people don't have $500-$600 to spend on a painting, but when you put it into an auction or a raffle or something like that, you can raise a bizarre amount of money to put towards a cause. And I think that, once you have $500, $1,500, $5,000 money in your hand, you can affect more change than simply not buying a Vince Vaughn DVD. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's my thoughts for today on Vince. I'm a little embarrassed that I even not embarrassed, but since there was such a big deal about it yesterday, I thought I would make a video on it. And my point of the video is that it's not a big deal. he's not a big deal. I don't think, and like I said, I think that our beliefs, our ideas, our movement to get change in the White House, to get change in general, is strong enough that it's not going to be threatened by one actor sitting with the president and not even knowing what this guy said. You know, I mean, we got first of all, he is an American. He has the right to sit with whoever he wants. And second of all, we don't have any idea what he talked about. There's people basing their whole anger and outrage on the simple fact that Trump patted his hand when he stood up, and he could have said, I hate your guts and I hate your policy, and Trump could have said, well, we'll see, and patted his hand. We don't know what he said. We're imagining what he said, and that's ridiculous. It's juvenile, and it's something I would put more into that I would expect more from the cult of Trump than from sane, rational people. Okay, that's it for today. You guys, I think I'm going to do I want to do a video on libertarianism, because once I looked into Vince Vaughn, and he's a libertarian, and I don't know a whole lot about libertarianism, so I think I'd like to do a video on libertarianism coming up. See, and delve into that rabbit hole a little more. Okay, you guys have a great hump day, great Wednesday. I'll talk to you later.